Welcome to my Nightcrawler cosplay tutorial. A tutorial that would make total sense if I did it in German, but I'm doing it in English. Anyways, first I'm going to show you all the basic skin pieces that you could use for any other version of this character as well. For the feet, I took some old neoprene shoes that I already had for years and figured out the shape of his toes with some crumpled paper. When I was happy, I traced the shape on some thick felt. I took more pieces of felt to sew them to the base and create a toe shape. I sewed all the pieces together. In the front, I had to make some more cuts. Into the middle, I sewed another piece of felt. Then I stuffed the toes and sewed over all the openings. I took some fabric and sewed it over the gap on the top. I put this new foot in the leg of a morph suit and cut off everything I didn't need. A blue fabric sock would to work as well. I cut the fabric between the toes and glued it on the base with hot glue. To the top part of the feet, I sewed an elastic. Then I painted the feet by dabbing on different shades of blue acrylic paint with a sponge and a dry brush. I cut some cheap plastic nails into shape and glued them on with the nail glue they came with. Then I painted them in various shades of blue. Lastly, I added a coat of clear varnish. To protect the soles while walking, I added some latex to the feet. I used a sponge, but you will not be able to reuse it afterwards. Using some kind of plastic tool, like I'll show you for the ears, is way more resourceful and more practical anyways. After the latex dried, I put some dark eyeshadow powder on it and some baby powder. The latex might stick to the fabric of the shoe, so keep that in mind if you want to reuse the shoe for other projects as well. For the gloves, I traced my hand on some paper, extended it with a sleeve of a shirt, and traced it on some blue fabric from the same morph suit. I painted the gloves and added the nails, just as with the feet. I sewed the arms to a shirt. Just make sure you add a zipper. Or make short gloves if you don't need the full arm length. Now, onto the fangs. I used polymorph plastic, which is a thermoplast. You put it in hot water and it gets clear and soft. I made 2 little sausages and placed them on my lower teeth and immediately started molding. The lower fangs are quite small. I had to wait quite a while before they hardened and I was able to take them out. I repeated the same for my upper teeth. I also pushed the plastic gently in the spaces between my teeth to make it look more realistic. Try them on and make sure that they are comfortable together. If you have to wear braces, just wear them a couple of days before you mold your teeth, or they might not fit for long. Now, the ears. I asked my dad to put plaster on my ears. That took ages to dry. Once I had taken them off, I cleaned up the cast with some clay. I filled the mold with silicone and let it dry for at least a week. Then I peeled out my ears carefully. I took some silicone and cleaned up some cracks and air bubbles with my fingers. I took pictures of my ears and improved the silicone ear by cutting off unwanted edges. With clay, I shaped some pointy ears on my silicone ears. I used water to smooth it out and a plastic tool to define lines. I mixed some latex with a little bit of blue acrylic paint and spread it over my pointy ear using the plastic tool. I let the first layer dry and then added another one. I powdered the ears so the latex won't stick to itself, from the outside and the inside. Make sure your latex is liquid enough. When it's too thick, you might end up with an unwanted texture, as you can see on the left. For the wig, I started out with a very cheap wig from eBay. I cut off the hair and sewed in some blue wefts that I still had from another project. Then I started trimming the hair. I'm really not an expert at this, so I won't be able to explain a whole lot. I started by getting his bangs out of the way, then I trimmed the hair, cutting downwards with my scissors. Then I put it on my head and cut the bangs to fit around my face. I put the wig back on the wig head and cleaned it up. I repeated these steps until I was happy. To make my tail, I bent some wire into a T shape. That part is for the attachment. Then I wrapped the wire around some felt and sewed the end in place. I sewed a tip and shaped the wire to fit it in it. Then I sewed this in place as well. I cut some pieces from a very soft foam block and then sewed them around the wire felt base. I also added some details to the tip and wrapped some sections of the tail for structure. Then I traced the shape of the tail on the blue fabric, sewed a tube and turned it inside out. I had to slide the tail base in, sewed the top end in place and cut open the tip. There I glued the fabric with hot glue. Then I shaded the tail with acrylic paints. Later I made a second tail using stronger wires. I kept them straight and parallel instead of wrapping them around the felt. But other than that, I made it the same way as the other tail. To attach the tail to myself, I sewed some loops on a belt where I could slide the T-piece of the tail into. Now on the clothing. I found these pants in a thrift shop and just had to alter them. I marked where I wanted the tail to be and cut open the seam so it fit through. I marked the length of the pants and cut them off and made some cuffs. I also added a strip of fabric to the cuffs. Ha! No, the shirt! I love the shirt! I sewed together the red and black panel for the shirt and rolled all the edges on the neckline. Then I sewed the front panel together as well. I connected both panels on the shoulders and sewed in the sleeves. Then I closed the sides. Now I just had to roll the edges and hem them and add some hotfix studs down the front panel. For his Michael Jackson-like jacket, I have sadly no footage. I was a little bit in a con crunch, so I skipped doing videos. But it's made out of pleather, and I just made the pattern myself and sewed it together. Honestly, I'm not that good at describing complex sewing. But yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed my tutorial. Bye!